Good morning. Ironically, there's so much to say about the midah of shtika, of being silent. What exactly is the midah of shtika? So, at first glance, it would seem that a person who keeps quiet, he remains silent when he has nothing to say, he's acquiring that midah. But obviously, that's a wonderful thing, but that's not the real way to acquire the midah of shtika. The real way to acquire the midah of shtika is when a person has something to say and he holds back and remains silent even though he wanted to say something. So for example, a person wants to initiate a conversation which perhaps is not from the wisest of things that he had to say, and he holds back. He doesn't say his comment, he doesn't respond to someone else's comment. That is a way a person can eventually bring himself to acquiring this midah. However, I would like to point out that there is a different aspect of the midah of shtika, and that is, we know that there's speech, but there's also a word in English, speechless. What happens when a person becomes informed of some shocking news, something he never knew, something that took him to his core? He becomes speechless, and by that we mean that he has no words to express his feelings or his thoughts. This too is a midah of shtika. However, this shtika is not merely silence, but this shtika is a silence which really serves as dibur. It's shtika which within speechless, you have speech. He is expressing his thoughts and his feelings by keeping quiet. And so this too is a form of shtika. Sometimes we say the words deafening silence. Deafening silence doesn't really make sense. How could it be deafening if it's silence? It's silence. But deafening silence means that even within that silence, there's a dibur, there's some sort of speech. Through your silence, you're expressing your feelings. And the truth is that with this we can understand an old adage. There's an old adage, I'll say it in Hebrew and I'll translate it. The old adage goes as follows: Ha-dibur shava kasaf, v'hashtika shava zahav. Speech is worth silver, but silence is worth gold. And we have the same idea in the Gemara. Shtika kehoida. Shtika, just remaining silent, can be considered like a confession, like hoida, like admitting to something. You didn't even speak, but your silence is as if you admitted, you confessed to doing something. We should all have the seichel, the wisdom to know when to keep quiet, when to talk, and when to keep quiet and use that as if we spoke. Have a great day.